welcome back to the show. For those of you who don't know, my name is Paul. I'm the owner of Mr. Post Frame, and today we're here at Westberrie Acres and we're going to go over putting steel up. As you can see behind me, most of the steel is all done, just except for underneath the porch here. So one thing with the steel on this, we had to jump around a lot. One, we just didn't have some of the right pieces. That happens sometimes during a build, so we just kind of had to move around where we could. The lift quit on us a couple times, so we got it done. So let's go ahead and jump into the show. Alright guys, I took my lift in to have some repairs done, and so I called Big Rents and got an articulating lift, which we have a scissor lift. I got an articulating for a couple reasons. One, it will do what the scissor lift does, but I can also get up here above this porch to put the steel on way up high. So kind of killing two birds with one stone. So hopefully we can get all our steel done in the next week. That's what I'm shooting for. Alright guys, so this trim right here is actually called a sliding door trim. At least that's what the manufacturer that I get it from calls it. This cut right here is the height of the door. So this is an 8-foot door, so I measure 8 foot to here. And then it actually juts out 1.5 inches from the building. So I will add 1.5 inches up so that when my top trim comes across, I have a nice little angle here. If you look, this door right here, it covers the entire jamb, comes around, and then J trim will slide in here, and then your side steel will slide in there. This one actually is done right here, way up there, but I'll show you once we get our top one cut how that sits over it. It's just a nice clean way to do it, and there's a lot less thinking involved. Obviously you don't want your ribs to line up there if they don't, but this type of trim with J pretty much protects you if they do, so that's why I like it. So one other little detail I do is I just take a piece of the same color steel, about 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches, make a 90, and then I slide it into this corner right here underneath the steel. You're never going to see it, but what it does is it eliminates me from having to make another little bend, and then when I run a bead of white silicone or whatever the color, it makes it nice and neat and clean. 8:30, and we finished off this end. And I don't know if you can see it, I'll get a little closer. We did a linear break basically at the bottom cord of the truss across here. And I did that on my house. Originally, the reason was it was easier for me to put up those sheets of steel by myself, but it adds a lot of character. So we have finished off this wall. This west wall is all done. And so now we're working around towards the front and hopefully should get everything up to the porch today. But it's starting to look pretty good. All at once. Got good? Yep. Yeah, we're good up here. All right. Good?
Yep.
Good?
Yep.
we're just going to start here at this corner, and I'll talk about all these trims where our porch meets our main structure. So right here you can see we have a hip coming off here, so we're gonna have a couple different kinds of trims here. So you can see this piece of metal, the ribs run up and down perpendicular to the actual structure. So that's where this trim right here comes into play. It comes over the rib, down, and then gets screwed in. Your steel just gets cut up along the edge there. This trim actually goes up about 4.5, 5 inches. So the top of that trim is way up here. So that the water comes down, hits this, and goes off. If you can see down here, how I handle the water mitigation here is the 1-inch overhang for the steel. We had this rib here, which is typically not what we shoot for, but if you have a rib here, instead of stopping your trim here, you just got to continue it out another couple inches. So when this water comes down, it gets out over the top of the rib that's below and comes out here. You can see my cut is up about 1/2 inch. So this trim goes up in here, and the water's actually down below that cut. We'll put a little silicone right there to protect that, but that should never get any water anyway. But that's a trim that you're going to need. Another trim that you have is when your ribs come straight into your building, and that's when we use this trim. It's the same kind of deal, only it's just basically a 90, or it's cut at the pitch of your roof. It's pretty flexible. It's got a hem on the bottom here, so it comes down. The steel will come down to here, so you can see how far this goes up. And I actually tape the top of that trim to the Tyvek, or the block-it house wrap. And then this is just temporary. Our pieces of steel will get slid up underneath here, and then we'll use a closure strip in here. So this will all get a closure strip in there, and then we'll screw down through the ribs with 2-inch screws right here. So water will come down your steel, hit here, come out over the panels and down. Any wind-driven rain will be stopped by our closure strip. We'll cover this when we get this all done, but this will be a ridge cap, and it will get a hem seal, which is a seal that we just roll out and then it expands, and that will seal off any wind-driven rain from getting up into where these pieces meet. You can see right here, you won't see any of the zip tape, but I bring this trim up the side, and then my top trim I bring and lap over, put a couple screws down through it. This will actually all be covered right here because our ridge will come over the top of this. Our side steel will come down over this, and our ridge will come up, and so none of this will even be seen. So it's not gonna be an issue. Alright, we have our hip trim laying up here. Got it cut at the angle of the wall. Got an 1.5 inch bend up. This is all flashed with zip taping. This will all be covered, of course. And then there'll be a hem seal. It comes from here down and here down before this goes on. So we're just going to slide this up here. I'm going to screw it to the wall just to hold it in place while we do the bottom, and then we'll put our hem seal on and screw it in place. Definitely way better than trying to bend it. Boom. Set it and forget it. Let's go. Alright guys, we appreciate you watching. Hopefully this was helpful to somebody out there that's putting steel up on their building. It wasn't just a smooth transition. We had to jump around, but it went well. We got it done. We appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget we have design services, and we have a Patreon for you that want to self-build your own home. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next video.